Welcome back to Dan's Messy Garage. This is going to be part 7 of the budget build 302. I'm in my garage and I got a whole bunch of parts. Came over the weekend. So I'm going to go through the parts and see what I have and don't have. And then we'll maybe update the budget. I'm going to go over the gaskets and parts that came over the weekend, compare it to my budget estimate, and see if I can figure out how we're doing. I can see now that I'm going to need to rewrite all this because I have things written on two sides of the paper, different papers. All right, one thing I got, head gaskets. Felpro 9333 PT1, very common head gaskets. Got those. Set them over here. I got valve cover gaskets. I just bought them from Jegs 21120. These are nice. They're steel gaskets with rubber coatings. It shouldn't leak as easily as the cork ones. I got the rear main oil seal. Felpro BS 40620. Let's see. Head gaskets, how much were those? Head gaskets were $43.94. Okay. Rear main seal. Well, yeah, I estimated $15 for this, but I got them kind of like a at the same time deal, and they with tax and everything came to $58.07. So I had like a $65 estimate, and it came out $58.07 for these two. Got a nice timing cover. In fact, I probably won't even bother painting this. You know, it's a really nice bright aluminum piece. I needed one that had the fuel pump hole and a dipstick hole. So this is the one I needed. Timing pointer. I'm not sure where. I think it's going to be over here. I might have to make my own timing pointer because the lower radiator hose comes out of the water pump on the driver's side, like right through this area. I'll figure that out later. That's immaterial right now. Those two items are off the list. I bought a timing chain. Bought a Cloy's 9-1138. Cast iron gears, double roller. The nice double roller chain. Good stuff. Cast iron gear. And this has got like this machined area with a slight raised portion right here. That's where the fuel pump eccentric goes on. I have an eccentric here that I bought. That's the two-piece. The ring spins outside. And this style gear, yes, these have to go together. So that gets bolted on there, then the outside ring is free to turn. But if you have a two-piece, you got to make sure you have the correct gear. And to tell you the truth, I lucked out because I bought a two-piece eccentric, hoping the gear was correct, and it worked out. Okay. So the eccentric and the timing chain, it's going to be tough because the eccentric and the timing cover came together, this thing, and the rear main and timing chain came, so yeah, like I said, I'm going to have to redo this because I want to see how close my estimates were to the actual. I'm hoping that I estimated high on a lot of it. And like for gaskets, I just had $200, and I think I'm at 172. So, all right, something else. Bearings. I got Jegs brand rod bearings. Part number 25240. Very, very common rod bearings. I mean, it's got like a 1965 part number on this stuff, so been around a long time. And I got Jegs brand main bearings, part number 25050. I think these also had like a 65 part number, on the ones that came out of the engine. So these are all standard size because the crank came out great. It's not going to need to be turned. Happy about that. And I got a one-piece oil pan gasket. I like these a lot better than the four-piece gaskets because it's less prone to leaking. But this is a 210297 one-piece oil pan gasket from Jegs. And I already told you I got the rings and the oil pump pickup. So let me write all this down in a more legible manner, and I'll be right back. Okay, I wrote everything down. Got the target build. It's $2,000 for the budget. Now, I didn't estimate what the stuff was going to cost, like the engine oil, pan intake, and heads, because I just bought them. Figured they were a good price to start with. So stuff I bought, I started out spending $10.50. Then I listed the things that I did buy, the estimate. I estimated most of them except for the gaskets and stuff. I just kind of lumped those together because, it's the way I did it. I had 200 for all that. So, timing cover, estimated 75, spent 38. Water pump, estimated 50, spent 8207 because I bought a good one. Bought aluminum high performance. I think the name is GMB. Don't have it yet. Pickup tube, I estimated 25, cost 23.28. Carburetor, I estimated 450, got one for 300, though I don't have it in my hands yet. It's on the way. Timing chain, I estimated 50. Rear main seal, estimated 15. Both those together cost 5807, so I did good there. Fuel pump eccentric, estimated 30, and it was 2715. Main and rod bearings, oil pan gasket, valve cover gaskets, head gaskets. I didn't estimate all of that per se because of the main and rod bearings are thrown in with this mix. But the rod bearings and the oil pan and valve cover gaskets, $128. Head gaskets turn out to be $43.94. Piston rings, I thought would be 100. They were 75.55. Headers, where I figured they'd be 50, and they were 50. So let me pause this and add up what I spent so far and see how I'm doing with the $2,000 budget. Okay, I added it up with my $200 estimated for gaskets, but I forgot about the bearings. My estimates came to $10.95 more, so I'd have been over budget right there. But my actual, I spent so far $847.2 or 20 cents. So I have roughly $102 left of this $2,000 budget to buy whatever is not on the list that I forgot about. Now, keep in mind, folks, not everything's on here because I have parts laying around. I have gaskets laying around. I have like intake gaskets. I have the front pump. The front oil seal that goes in the timing cover. I have carburetor gaskets. I have thermostat gaskets. And exhaust manifold or header gaskets. I have that. So, I'm using stuff I have. Now, if you were to do this on your own, could you do it for 2,000? Possibly, if you found good deals on stuff like I did. The engine, the oil pan, those two were 125 together. The intake, you wouldn't have to spend that much. You could get one for 75, maybe even $50. And the heads, well, that, if you use the heads that came on the engine and just had a machine shop do a valve job, resurface them, put in new seals and stuff like that, you'd probably have maybe 400 into it. So roughly 500 into 5 to 600 for you could do it if you can find an engine. All right. This other stuff, those are going to be your prices too. The one exception here might be the fuel pump because I got a deal on that at $21. And something that's not on here that I didn't get, but I'm pretty sure I have, are all the nuts and bolts that the guy took out when he pulled the engine apart. I didn't get those. But I got nuts and bolts, washers and screws. That drawer's just chock full of them. Down on the floor. Hang on, tripod. Right in there is a bunch of longer bolts. I have bolts, nuts and bolts in these trays here. I have nuts and bolts everywhere, so I'm not concerned about getting what I need to put it together. And you can zoom in over there. Under that parts washer down in there, there's more tubs of nuts and bolts and studs and miscellaneous little parts. But what I'm going to be doing is cleaning up these black surfaces where the head go on. Now, I've used this before on projects. It's just an angle iron with some sandpaper on it. The sandpaper is history. But I'm going to recheck this bar, make sure it's straight and flat. I'm going to get my straight edge out. And if it is, I'm going to pull these little dowel pins out of here, put sandpaper on here, and clean that surface up. Before I do any of that, I got to get my drafting straight edge. Be right back. Okay, I have my old drafting straight edge. Paid a lot of money for this back in the day. It's 42 inches long, and it was supposed to be within 1/1000th of an inch end to end. And One thing as a draftsman, you really protected the edges of your triangles and straight edges. If I take my fingernails and rub it up and down here, this thing is still beautiful. It's not all nicked up. But like I said, these are some of your prized possessions when you're manual drafting. And so I trust this. What I'm going to do is get this block up so I can do this flat. First, I'm going to take a razor and scrape off all the old gaskets and crud that's on there. Okay, that razor blade got things off there. It feels pretty nice and smooth now. I pulled out the little dowels that were in the corners to locate the head. Now I have my straight edge and a 2/1000 thick feeler gauge. Put this on here carefully without banging my straight edge up. And I'm going to hold it and then see if I can slide this feeler gauge under straight edge. All right, good. It's not going through there. I'm going to go corner to corner. Excellent. This way. Okay, it's not going under. I just got a few checks to make on each end and between each cylinder here. Excellent, excellent, excellent. I'm saying that block is in great shape. Now I was going to use this metal thing that I had sandpaper on, but I remembered that I have a piece of plate glass. I don't know how thick that is or thin. Got to be 3/8 of an inch or so. That's not going to bend. If I put sandpaper on that and rub it across there, I think that's going to be good and flat. In fact, just for fun, let's take the same straight edge and feeler gauge. See if that'll go under there. It shouldn't. No, not going to. So I'm going to use that glass plate. Got to find some peel and stick paper and apply it. I have the surface cleaned up with the super clean starting fluid. It feels nice and clean. I'm going to take the sandpaper on the plate glass. Whoa, don't break it. I'm going to rub this over here. I want to see if I can get scratches over the entire surface of the block, because that'll verify that it's flat. Looking good. I'm going to do the other side and see if that's flat. So far, that block is checking out very nice. Did both surfaces, both sides of the block. Looks great. Turn it upside down and do this oil pan surface. That doesn't have to be super flat. It's got a thick gasket, that one piece rubber thing I got. I'm going to seal that up. So I'm not even going to bother with that. And give me a minute here and let me think what the next step is. Looks like the next step is going to be assembly. I'm finally going to get to assemble the engine. Sure, that's what you guys are waiting for too. And with that being mentioned, said, whatever, that's going to be the end of part 7, working on the budget 302 build. I thank you for watching Dan's Messy Garage. Please come back for part 8 when I start to assemble this. You have a good night. Bye.